It's a cold and rainy day in the Midwest, but I'm here to heat it up. Today I have 10 of my hottest takes for the upcoming NBA season. Don't forget to drop yours in the comment section below. We might not agree, but hey, I want to hear what you guys have to say and we can go back and forth. Lastly, these are meant to be fun. These are not meant to be my most accurate predictions, so let's just have some fun and take it as that. The Toronto Raptors will make the NBA playoffs. Now, Brandon Ingram set the debut for this team, and that's huge, but his fit next to Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, and RJ Barrett remains a big mystery. And that leads to another question. How good of a coach is Darko Rajakovic? Because how do you incorporate all of these guys who have similar play styles, that they thrive in isolation, but aren't that great at spot-up threats, to get all these guys to work together and to win a lot of games? So is RJ to go to the bench? Do you bring in Grady Dick in favor of RJ Barrett in that starting five? I think that would be smart. But ultimately, I think in a weaker conference, with all the questions around Boston, Philly, Indiana, I think there is a lot of wiggle room for this team to figure out these questions early on and to find their stride by the midseason mark and ultimately make a playoff push. Paolo will finish as a top 5 MVP candidate in 2025. For the first time in a while, this team is healthy. Jalen Suggs returns to the mix. They traded for Desmond Bane, who fills a lot of voids in his own right, as a facilitator, as an outside threat. And if this roster is as advertised, with the defensive mentality of Jamal Mosley, I think they will finish as a top 3 seed in the East. That paired with the fact that I think Paolo is a top 15 talent in the game today, he should take that next step into superstardom. And if he can, all these things check out and equal to Paolo being a top 5 MVP level player. So in short, Paolo takes a step. The Magic take a step. We have a very exciting playoff run on our hands. Now, I'm not saying Paolo's going to win the MVP, but I think he puts his name up there as far as one of the top dogs in the league going forward. Now, as crazy as it sounds, I don't think saying Wemby winning the Defensive Player of the Year this year is a hot take. But I do think if he does it in a historical sense, I think that'll pass by as a hot take. This is a Spurs team that is young, they're fun, and I do think they'll be competitive in a loaded Western Conference. And with what we've seen from Victor Wembanyama, he's already one of the greatest defensive impact players of all time. And if this Spurs team can be an 8 seed, a 9 seed, I do think the narrative will still be behind Wemby. I think the fan vote will be behind Wemby. And I do think despite being a lower seed, he will win this award. And it's historical in the fact that no player on a team seeded 7th or lower has ever won this award. So Victor Wembanyama winning this award will be historic, and it would also be a great narrative push for the NBA. The Atlanta Hawks will live up to the hype and be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference this season. This is a roster that is widely considered the best built roster around Trae Young in his entire career. And with the new additions of Kristaps Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, this is a roster that has it all. Perimeter defense, shooting, spacing, and Trae Young's ability to, well, everybody fits around him perfectly. He just needs to go out there and answer the question, is he a true number 1 option on a winning team? Now, as far as the playoffs, I don't know if I like their chances, but as far as being a great regular season team, I mean, with Reece Shea, with Jalen Johnson coming back, this is a roster that checks all the boxes, and I do think Trae will at least give us some hope and some clarity as far as the question of can he lead a championship-level team? I think the answer is yes, and I do think the Hawks will get home court going into the East playoffs. Now, every year there's a team that shocks us as far as underwhelming our preseason expectations. I think the Memphis Grizzlies would not only miss the playoffs, but they're going to miss it by a wide margin. Think of the Phoenix Suns last year, where there's a fair amount of optimism around this team and a lot of excitement around their stars, but then they just couldn't put it all together. They didn't have enough help around their stars, and they ultimately fluttered. I think that's going to be the song and dance in Memphis this year. You know, John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. have carried a lot on their shoulders in their Memphis run, and it's only going to get heavier. Desmond Bane has been traded to the Orlando Magic, and with Santi Aldama, he's a nice young player. He had a great Eurobasket run, but him as a third option in a loaded Western Conference is not a recipe for success. So sure, Santi Aldama and Jalen Wells will have nice individual seasons, but as far as contributing the winning basketball around Ja and Jaren Jackson, I just can't see it. So at best, I think this team will be the 10th seed in the Western Conference, and I don't think they'll even win a play-in game. Now I have some fun ones here for you guys at home, so again, take these with a grain of salt. But this is a two-parter. We have Lauri Markkanen gets traded to the Detroit Pistons, and they make a run at things in the Eastern Conference playoffs. For Lauri Markkanen, he did just sign a big extension, but which Eastern Conference team needs a shooting big man or just a shooting wing, a guy that can also play defense and contribute to a winning team? The Detroit Pistons, right? The Detroit Pistons lost Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway this offseason, and Lauri Markkanen is a player that can contribute to, I guess, championship level basketball. So him getting traded to Detroit, buying into that JB Bickerstaff system, who he has history with, given that Lauri was in Cleveland with JB Bickerstaff, I like this fit. I think it's a match made in heaven. Now, will the Jazz actually trade Lauri? I don't know. But I think with the addition of Lauri Markkanen, the Pistons can upset a Magic or an Atlanta Hawks in the first round and make it very interesting for one of these top dogs in the second round of the East playoffs. Now, this is the hot take only for the Sacramento Kings front office. You're not contenders. Move off of your veterans and rebuild like a normal organization. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in purgatory. But again, that sounds like Fugazi to this Sacramento front office. Now, as a devoted Cleveland Cavaliers fan, there are still questions around our roster, despite all the optimism that I may have for myself. There's questions about the health of Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen. There's questions about the mentality of our team when it comes to postseason time. But there's another team in the East that's a top dog, and I don't have as many questions with them. That's the New York Knicks. Mike Brown goes in to take over for Tom Thibodeau, and not only is he going to unlock this offense, he's also going to give these guys a lot more rest throughout the season, so they're not so gassed when it comes to those key games in the postseason there in New York. They have the length, they have the versatility on both ends of the court. I want to see Cat be a little more aggressive at the basket this year, but Mike Brown will bring that out of them. And this is a team that can do it all. They can match up with anybody, and I think they go and win the Eastern Conference for the first time in over 25 years. Now, on the Western Conference side of things, I do think the Denver Nuggets will continue the streak, and they will knock off the Oklahoma City Thunder to get a new champion in 9 consecutive NBA seasons. This is a Nuggets team that got rid of Michael Porter Jr. and some other rotational pieces, and you revamp this roster. You bring in Jonas Valanciunas, Cam Johnson, you bring back Bruce Brown into the mix. You have a complete roster around the Serbian big man and Nikola Jokic. So with a better roster, with Nikola Jokic being able to take some nights off, I think that's going to be huge for the longevity of this team, because last year with a worse roster, they took the champs to 7 games and they were right there. This is a Nuggets team that has only gotten better, and I think the Nuggets with the best player in the world do get back to the top of the mountain. Now, though the preseason hype is around Zion Williamson, though he looks the best he has in his NBA career, I don't see much changing in New Orleans. They have a lot of nice young pieces. DeJounte Murray's coming back healthy this year, and that could unlock their offense. But ultimately, I do think that they're going to start slow, and this front office is going to panic. They're going to trade somebody and hopefully keep all of the blame off of Zion Williamson. So whether if that's Herb Jones, whether if that's Trey Murphy, or hey, DeJounte Murray, I want to see one of these guys get traded at the midseason mark, and I honestly hope it's the man on your screen to my Cleveland Cavaliers. But those are my hot takes for the upcoming 2026 NBA season. If you enjoy, of course, support us down below. Hit that big red button. We're on the road to 18,000, and it doesn't cost you anything, right? Just click a button, right? But leave me your hot takes in the comment section below. And remember, these are meant to be fun. They're not meant to be taken too seriously. So I'm excited to see what you guys have to say.